Now, Torsten Koehler, who is the founder of the Love Your Nuts Foundation, joins us now on the couch, along with Francious De Wet, who is one of the beneficiaries of the foundation. We chat all about the important work that they're doing to tackle testicular cancer. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
So tell us a little bit about your journey, how you were confronted, I suppose, or conflicted with testicular cancer.
I was 30 years old when I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. I was a teacher during that time, preparing lessons for sex education, and had bought a children's book that I taught on their level. So lying in bed in the evening, reading through this children's book, there was a chapter on all the diseases and a little paragraph that said testicular cancer is most common between 15 and 40. While lying in bed, I checked and I felt a little lump. And then no pain, nothing. In typical male, we don't immediately go to the doctor. So 14 days later, I went to the doctor and it was testicular cancer in an early stage, luckily. But yeah, that's how I found out. I've read it in a children's book.
That must have been so traumatic for a young man at 30 years old. It's a lot. I mean, how did you feel in the doctor's office when he's giving you this news?
I think your life shatters into a million pieces because you're 30 years old. You think only old people get cancer. That happened in '95, so there was no internet, not a lot of information available. I was in Namibia during that time. I couldn't find anybody else to talk to. The fears that you have, the thoughts. It's a lonely and dark journey. And I think a lot because men don't talk.
And did you know what options were available to you then in terms of treatment?
Yeah, the doctor said to me, in my case, I need chemotherapy. And then when I left the doctor's room, I went to the Cancer Association in Namibia just to get some more information, but there was really little information. So I knew I'm going to need chemotherapy, and it's going to be 2 sessions of chemotherapy 5 days in a row. Because it was early detected, it was more like a precaution thing because the cancer hadn't spread yet.
And what was chemo like for you?
Chemo is, if it comes to the physical pain compared to the surgery, it's the worst thing. I always say normally you go to a hospital when you don't feel well and you get treatment and then you feel well. With chemotherapy, it's actually the opposite.
You get worse.
You walk in there, you don't have pain, and when you walk out, it's actually...
What does it feel like? What pain does it give you throughout?
At the beginning is, it feels like a flu. And then the more chemo you get, then things change, like you don't have... your taste buds doesn't work anymore, so you can have a glass of water or eat a steak, it tastes the same. You lose your hair, you get wounds inside your mouth. So all the cells that produce or that grow very quickly, like cancer cells, are actually getting destroyed. That's actually why you lose your hair. And it grows back after the treatment, and hopefully chemo is strong enough to kill the cancer. Because they're the most greedy ones, so they take most of the poison, hopefully.
That sounds like such a traumatic journey, and to find out and have to act immediately is almost scary for yourself, Francois. I mean, you found out 2 years ago when you were 36, so you were a little older than, of course, Torsten. But how did your journey look like from when you found out you were diagnosed through the entire... I mean, I can only imagine.
Well, I was lucky. I was born in the internet age. So I went through the same emotions of being scared, feeling vulnerable, thinking maybe it's my fault, maybe I did something wrong. And luckily the internet was there, and I met this man through Love Your Nuts. And through that dark time of chemo in the middle of the night when I don't want to do it, gave him a ring, and he gave me hope because I know he made it. And he's not too bad, so I knew I'd make it as well.
That's so funny how you speak about making it and seeing, Torsten, that he's made it at the end of the tunnel. But, Torsten, you say that for you, the real test and the real trials came after you were healing, in the healing journey, and when you left the hospital.
I think everybody handles it differently. In my case, it was, I saw when I went for chemo, all these other cancer patients, and then 3 weeks later, I was there again for my next session, and you see the same people, but half the size. And then you think, is this my journey now? Slowly dying of this cancer, maybe they can't do anything. So after I've done with treatment and everything, you still have to go out for checkups. And at the beginning especially, you feel a pain somewhere in the body, then you think, oh, must I go to the doctor? Maybe it's pain, it's back. So it drove me nuts.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Love Your Nuts. How did it start and why?
First, way back, there was nobody to talk to, so my therapy was writing. So I've written a book. I've written it in German. It was published in Germany in 2004. In 2011, I spent money on a translation, and the English version is called Love Your Nuts. Testicle cancer touched my life.
He was the model.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, it's me. And then I started a Facebook page with the book. And during the time when I was a teacher, because there was a 12-year-old one that had chemotherapy when I had testicular cancer. So when I was back at school, I always thought, all these boys that pass me on the passage, they're all at risk, they all love their nuts, but they don't know that they should check once a month.
Yeah.
So I was a biology teacher, and every year, one lesson with a new class group, I explained testicular cancer and breast cancer because girls were sitting in class. And both these cancers is self-examination, both these cancers you search for lumps, both these cancers, if you go in time, you've got a good chance to survive.
Wow. Tell us that searching for the lumps, what does a lump feel like? So if you do happen to, because I assume it'll be the same with the breast, and I mean it would be like with that, what do you feel for?
It's on the testicle itself. The testicle normally is smooth.
Yeah.
And if guys feel regularly over their surface, they will pick up that there is suddenly a bump that wasn't there a month ago. And then they should go immediately. Okay. So it's not the strings and the veins at the back of the testicle, it's on the testicle itself.
We'll have diagrams and all that information on our website if you do want to give yours a check.
And finding out, more importantly, what are the right ways of doing it, because I can only imagine the confusion that might come into play. I mean, Francois, I don't know how Love Your Nut has helped you and made you more aware of what's happening around you and in your body.
The big thing about Love Your Nuts is creating awareness. So if number one, men are afraid of going to the doctor. If you'll know if there's something wrong with your testes, just go to the doctor. So it's a big drive we have. We try and support men. Go to the doctor. Men's health is important. Look after yourself.
We all know that men have such a tough time talking about feelings and, of course, health. Why is it so vital that men start speaking about this? Because, I mean, is it so... I mean, I can imagine it must be super lonely going through the journey of finding out that you're sick and then recovering.
And, I mean, just to add on that, I know, Francois, you call it the shy disease. The disease of shyness. What does that look like for a man going through?
The easiest way to explain is whenever we talk to men about testicular cancer, they either make a joke or they try and ignore it. So they're shy about it. So the more we speak about it, the more we get it out there. And Torsten has done a wonderful job of putting it out on social media and making it available. And more men talk about it, men feel comfortable, they go to the doctor, and we save lives that way.
Because I suppose early detection, if you get it sorted out early, then you can have a perfectly normal life.
And the UK statistics, for instance, it's 96% survival rate. And the 4% that die is actually for two reasons only. It's boys in puberty, they feel there's a lump. But because the body changes, they think it's part of the change happening, and because they don't know that it could be testicular cancer, they don't go. And they pass away because they don't know.
And also because it's such the inception is so young, the age rate at which you get it is
and the second reason is actually men, they feel there's something wrong, and they find it too embarrassing to go to the doctor, so they actually die of embarrassment, and it's not necessary.
That is so unnecessary. So if you need any assistance with your nuts, then simply visit Love Your Nuts. So join us after the break as life coach Namarin Richards takes us and talks to us about support systems. Plus, we chat about taking care of ethnic skin with AfriDerm.